Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to my Let's Play of Age of Decadence. We've got a couple options. Now, my quest list says that I should go to Ganazar. However, there are a couple sites that I have not explored yet. The tower and the archway. I have explored the library. I didn't exactly find anything worth picking up there, but, you know, I already took a look at it. The other one is to look into the abyss in the bottom of the crater here. Except, I am not sure that going down there is going to be such a good idea. There's probably going to be a lot of creatures down there. But you know what? I'm going to try anyway, and if I have to run back up, well, that's that. Venture into the abyss? I really don't want to, but yeah, I guess. The fog envelops you. Actually, the fog envelopes you, so thick that you can hardly see to place one foot in front of the other, and with it an absolute hush, leaving only the sound of your own breath. After the first couple steps, you begin to wonder how anyone could find the way at all, and if responding to your thoughts, the fog begins to recede, allowing you to see at least some of your surroundings. The ground is clean swept as a moneylender's sidewalk. Nothing here, not so much as a pebble, has been left unclaimed by fortune hunters. The path is easy enough to follow, and you keep walking until you are able to discern the mountains alongside you are bones. Not skeletons as such, but piles of disconnected human bones in such numbers you cannot even hazard an estimate to the number of dead. A sudden gust of wind dislodges a skull from its resting place, and it rolls free on the ground. When the skull reaches a spot a few feet to your left, it stops as if caught and held by an unseen hand, then shatters, sending fragments of bone flying in all directions. Examine the area. Knowing what to look for, it doesn't take you long to find it. It's a big broken stone block protruding from the ground to your right, with a barely visible letter M scratched on its surface. You examine the area carefully, but fail to find any other letters. What could it possibly mean? Lore failure. Fang told you that Einar's name was the key, but neither Einar nor Endarian have an M in them. Curiouser and curiouser. Go in that direction. You follow the path for a while, and as you stumble on a broken column, half buried in the rubble, lightning strikes a few feet away, the instant clap of thunder deafening you. Blinking furiously, you stagger back as a white fireball appears, hovering in the air before you. For a moment, the entire area is flooded with eerie light, then it explodes. Deafened, blinded, burned, you manage to get up. Examine the area. After a careful search, you've convinced that the only object of interest is the half-buried column. Go into the direction that the column is pointing. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure down here. You continue to pick your way through the rubble until your ears prick up at an unpleasant groaning sound ahead. You come upon an erect cross of heavy timber. A man is hanging from the structure on 4 great black nails, and he is still alive, moaning loudly. "Kill me," begs the man, looking down at a sudden weight pulling on your hand. You realize you are holding a sword. Shall I kill him or free him? I think I'll free him. You manage to wrestle the man down from the cross and pour him some water. Before your eyes, his wounds vanish and his color returns. The man rises, stronger and taller than you had supposed. You could have sworn that he was your height, now he towers over you like a giant. Angrily, he lifts you by the throat and flings you away like a child discarding a doll. You roll in the dirt and dust and bits of stone, clutching to your smashed trachea. If you had known it would be your dying breath, you would have at least filled your lungs. When you open your eyes, you find yourself lying under the cross. Where the man had been, a skeleton now hangs. It's yellowed with age and has hung undisturbed for a very long time. That's kind of messed up. Go in the direction the cross is pointing, I guess. You walk on until a grim shadow resolves itself into a cairn of skulls among ruins. As you come closer, you find your fears fading away, to be replaced by a deep, encompassing calm. "I envy them," a voice whispers to you from behind. You spin. Although you can see 100 meters behind you and along the path, a man has somehow appeared only a few feet away. His manner is easygoing and relaxed, as if you were 2 travelers exchanging a few friendly words before continuing on your way. Why? They have found peace, or peace has found them. Either way. What about you? What do you seek? That's a good question. What do I seek? Well, I gotta be honest, riches. You won't find them here, so you may as well turn back. Without warning, the ground rumbles and begins to shake. The forbidding monument collapses, sending skulls skittering in every direction and throwing you to the ground. When you get up, the man is gone. Examine the area. You find no clues or signs of any kind. Just keep walking for now. You take a few hesitant steps, unsure of the direction, and nothing happens. With a growing confidence, you walk on until the breeze at your back instantly swells into a powerful wind, lifting you off the ground. Weightless, you hang in the air, struggling against the slowly increasing pressure. Fortunately, your vital organs give up first, and you are released from this world. Your body turns the way in the air, twisted and broken by unseen forces, until, when the last drop of blood is spent, it crashes to the ground. And that was brief. Well, tell you what, I am going to go ahead and pick that up again. I don't think that I can find anything of value down there just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on my way elsewhere. Let's go... I don't know. Let's see what I can do. Alright, so I think I'm going to either go to the arch or the... go to either the arch or... the tower next. And that's probably going to end in a similar manner. Let's check out my map then. Hopefully I can fast travel from the slums. Yeah, I should be able to. Alright, let's check out the arch. Because I've already checked out the library. After a long and arduous journey through the desert, you finally arrive at the site marked on your map. It's an abandoned excavation about 50 feet deep and twice as wide. Whoever did it spared no expense to unearth what it is that lies beneath the sand, but they found nothing except for an old arch. You see people around the dig site, but you can't tell who they are from this distance. The men are armed. They aren't organized enough to be the Imperial Guard, so they must either be mercenaries or raiders. Probably raiders. Their leader looks familiar, though. Why? It's your old friend Asbenus. So I know this fellow. RPG crawler? Didn't think I'd see you so soon. What brings you to my humble abode? I want to take a little closer look at that building. Magnificent, isn't it? Hard to believe it was completely abandoned when we found it. A piece of history, just buried and forgotten. 1,000 years ago, the Imperial soldiers marched under the arch, thinking that it would stand there forever as a testament to their glory. Today, slaves relieve themselves on it. Spiteful fuckers. What are you doing with the slaves? Selling them as cheap labor, since I don't have the heart to kill them. Why, you want them? Afraid not. Now about this arch. About my arch. For 1,000 Imperials, you can look all you like, and even take a small piece home as a souvenir. 1,000 Imperials to look at an old building? Still taking me for a fool, RPG crawler. If all you want to do is look, then take a look from here. It's free. We both know that you didn't come here for sightseeing, and my price is 1,000 Imperials. Pay me or be on your way. 500 for old time's sake. 1,000, says Asbenus, shaking his head. Last time I was in a hurry, not to mention outnumbered. Now I can sit and wait for you to loosen up your purse for as long as it takes. Mind you, I hope you appreciate the fact that I'm not sending in my men to strip you naked and have everything you have. You did me a good turn back in Terran, and Asbenus always pays his debts. You're right, I didn't come here for sightseeing. I'm here on the guild's business, which means that all expenses must be authorized by the guild. So do you want me to give you 500 now, or do you want me to go back and haggle with my superiors? I'll take 500, he says dryly. You gain a new insight into the arts and trades. Well, let's pay him. It's all yours, says Asbenus, counting the coins. Alright, so I got 6 coins from all that. Let's take a look around, shall we? There's the archway. Is there anybody I need to talk to? There's a slaver there. There's a worshipper there. These look like all people I can just walk by, right? Well, I'm looking for anything that might be interactable here. I feel like I'm going to walk up to that arch and then not be able to understand anything because I got no lore. Maybe I need to start boosting my lore a little bit. You're standing in front of the arch. Other than its size, it looks completely ordinary, old and dusty, with a few cracks here and there. You walk around looking for anything unusual, but find nothing of interest. Well, that was not exactly the most useful thing in the world. Yeah, can I just go back here? No. So there's nothing on this arch that I can understand. Bah. Well, that was a huge waste of time. Maybe I'll come here later, though. Next is, what, Saros? Is it the Tower of Saros? Hold on a second. Tower of Zamedi. And I'm going to find some more lore here. You're standing among the ruins of the town of Zamedi. Not much is left of it. A few broken columns and wall fragments sticking out from the sand-like graveyard stones. And, of course, the tower. A relic from another age. Once a beacon of arcane knowledge, now a desert lighthouse, warning caravan masters to stay clear of this area. Just as you begin to dismiss such caution as foolish superstition, nausea wells up within you and your skin starts to prickle. The magic that was unleashed on Zamedi may have weakened over the centuries, but it's far from gone. I get more skill points. There's a preacher there. And there is a lot of ruins. Do I gotta search this entire town? There's a lot of maps in this area that are huge, but don't have very much, like, actually on them. Well, let's talk to this preacher here. Have you come to pray, brother? Asked the man, chanting the words. Have you come to marvel at that which has been spared their wrath? Have you come to ask why? You mean the tower? Is it all you see, brother? Scoffs the man, looking at you with pity. A dusty old tower. And how, pray tell, did it survive the destruction of this land? By what miracle? By whose miracle? You know what I see? Says the man, changing his tone and going back to chanting. I see a shining beacon of faith, a message in God's own writing to those that have eyes. Why else was it spared that when everything else was destroyed? Why else was it spared when the gods could have flicked it away as one would an insect? Oh, it was no accident, believe me. There was a grand design at work here, my friend. So why did they spare it? It is their way of telling us that this is the house of the gods. By their mercy, and it was saved. It will be their mercy that will be saved when these doors be opened, and only those of pure heart and mind will be permitted to enter. Only they and nobody else will be saved when the gods return to end the reign of men. Only they and nobody else will receive their grace and be allowed to drink from the divine springs. How did you find this town? The gods led me to it. My caravan was attacked by raiders and I had to flee. After days of wandering the desert, I prayed to the gods to save me. The very moment I uttered those words, the sky started to clear and I saw it standing there in all its glory, heavenly light shining down upon it. The gods showed me the way. They tested me in my faith to see if I would falter and fail, to see if I would start having doubts, to see if I would turn away from them, like so many have done time and time again. But I did not. I passed the test. I placed myself into their hands, and by their grace did I survive. All right. Well, that called for a quick save, I think. Let's take a look at this shimmering wall. That isn't going to get me anywhere, I suspect. Seems to be a lot of dead-end places. As you get closer, you see why the tower hasn't been ransacked yet. A shimmering wall of red light, too bright to look at directly, blocks the entrance. Warily, you take a step forward and the red light surrounds you. Instantly, it feels like you are walking underwater, fighting for every step. You glance back to measure your progress and you realize you haven't moved an inch. Okay. My question is, am I going to scan over this place and see if there's like anything to loot here? Any other buildings? Any other survivors? Or just a ruined town? I feel like I've got to come back here at some point. A lot of ruins that I don't know anything about. Yeah, I think that I'm going to go ahead and... I guess it's time to head on to the next map, the Genezer. Lord Gallius' untimely demise marks the end of the era for House Aurelian's dominance in the region, leaving a massive gap in Madoran's power structure. A void his successor Serenus, possessing none of his uncle's strength and will, cannot begin to fill. The predictable struggle arises between the self-appointed advisors to the new Lord of Madoran, settling swiftly into a series of hasty power-sharing agreements and uneasy compromises. Feeble and ineffectual, this new rule by committee proves very agreeable to the other great houses. House Aurelian's power bleeds away in a slow but steady trickle to the lesser houses and guilds. Without a strong leader, Madoran falls to her factions as each district becomes its own feudal domain, ruled by the local lord, who establishes his own laws, levies, and a militia ready to defend the borders against the other districts. The rise of Master Strabos marks the beginning of a new era. Strabos isn't the first lowborn who managed to rise above his station, but he is the first whose rise wasn't driven by military success or arcane knowledge. The uncertainty of the first days of the new regime does not faze Strabos, whose pockets are deep enough to weather any storm. Knowing money is the ultimate tool to bend people to one's will, the guildmaster buys influence, loyalty, and favors by the dozens, turning gold into power. One transaction at a time, the commercium gains control over each gear of the political machine until it starts, runs, and stops at Strabos' will. You partner up with Marcus Valla, a man of questionable methods and reputation, and recover a power armor, a fabled artifact of the olden days. You sided with the Regulus, aiding him in his quest to cleanse the city from Ganazar's preachers and their ilk. And I do need to go to Ganazar. But I suspect there were some unfinished lines there. Beyond the embers of your dying campfire, you first mistook the lights of the holy city for a new constellation, so high were they above the horizon. Over the next 2 days, the craggy profile of Castle Ganazar sets the caravan's course, as if it were a lighthouse guiding you across the plain. The city's magic and mystery fades, however, as you come closer. The famous citadel squats grim and unadorned atop its massive hill, with the city arranged at cascading levels on the slopes beneath, like rings of fungus choking on the last vestiges of life from a ruined tree. Certainly one way to put it. And that's 20 skill points. A lot of skill points. The question is what should I spend them on? Should I have boosted my lore? I feel like lore would have opened so much stuff back there. I've got etiquette. I could boost etiquette. I think I'm good so far on all this stuff. Let's talk to this trader. Actually, let me take a look at this map. It's not a big city. Unless you're one of the faithful, friend, you may as well turn around, says a gap-toothed man, giving you his best smile. The good people of Ganazar don't want the unbelievers polluting their fair city with their presence. Are the gates closed then? The gates are wide open, but without one of these, he displays a rough-looking pendant in the shape of a snake biting its own tail. You won't make it past the first vacant cross, if you know what I mean. What is it? What is it? Asked the man, truly surprised by your ignorance. It's the mark of House Crassus, the great serpent Ouroboros, whose awakening will herald the end of this world and the beginning of a new one. Ouroboros? That's what I said, didn't I? So if you want to escape his fiery breath and enter the new world and this holy city, you must buy this amulet for the one low price of 10 imperials. I should be charging more, but I refuse to make a profit on your personal salvation. I'll buy the amulet if you answer my questions. It will be my pleasure, the man says reassuringly, giving you the amulet. So it's all this nonsense about the locals turning the unbelievers away. They do take this new creed seriously, that's for sure. They burned down the Boatman's Guild and slaughtered every man inside, so I'd take them seriously too if I were you. Watch what you say, or better yet keep your mouth shut unless you want to end up on a cross. The merchants are keeping a very low profile. Not a good time to be in the money-changing business for them. The guards are doing what they do best, looking the other way. The thieves went underground like rats. The word is they are staying away from the zealots. If you're one of the faithful, you can walk around at night and nobody will dare touching you. Because come the morning, the mob will be there looking for those who wronged you in any way. Keep that in mind, friend. What does Meru say about it? Officially, Meru says the attacks must stop and that all citizens are equal in his eyes, for he's a brother to all of them. Unofficially, well, I wouldn't know about that, but I suspect he's happy as a pig. Brother? You didn't hear about it? Apparently he's a lord no longer. He's Brother Meru now. Of course, Our new brother still rules Ganazar from his castle, and the mob has accepted him as their leader, so Meru is stronger than ever. Looks like it's a zealot church area. Ha! The original T-pose. Okay. Alright. Stop right there, demands a pockmarked man. He looks dirty and unkempt, yet speaks with a strange aura of authority, clearly enjoying his power to stop and question anyone he pleases. Several armed men are looming behind him, making the unspoken threat credible. The Crassus guards manning the gate show no reaction, either accustomed to it or being on the side of the zealots. Which lord do you owe fealty to? I bow to no man but the gods who watch over us from their heavenly abode. Welcome to Ganazar, brother. You gained new insights and gained a +1 point in House Crassus' reputation increased. Should I wear that amulet? That new amulet? Snake pendant. Yeah, we'll work on that. All right, let's see what we can do here. There's a dwelling. There's wait, what we got here? A crucified man. Let's go over here. I feel like I should save the game real quick. I have a lot of unspent points. A dangerous heretic once threatening communal order. Not so dangerous now, is he? A sobbing man with bulging, bloodshot eyes. Every now and then he gathers enough strength and starts shouting, recanting his words, and pleading for mercy. The onlookers laugh and encourage him to shout louder. That's vicious. Alright, hold on a second. I'm seeing something over here. A dwelling. Alright. Maybe I go down this way? This entire place seems oppressive. I'm not seeing anybody that I can interact with down here, but I'm going down here anyway just in case there's a cutscene. Nope. Alright, come back up here. I gotta be looking for something. Man, this entire place is a maze of like buildings upon other buildings. That's kind of squirrely. Is this supposed to be a tavern? Let's go in here. Got a guard that's saying plague. Alright, what do we got in here? Save the game. We got a youth and a lore master. Let's talk to the lore master. You see a young man having a heated argument with an old lore master. A story I've heard says these gods of yours were created. A young man says stubbornly, the Magi made them. One of the patrons curses and reaches for his dagger, but the lore master stops him with an authoritative gesture. Created? Asked the lore master with disdain. Did you create an oak when you plant an acorn? Or do you merely pray for it to find the soil fertile enough and sprout? The Magi found a way to plant seeds containing the divine essence into mortal men, who were humbled by the honor. The Magi, wise as they were, created neither the gods nor the divine essence that was used in the ritual. Banish such thoughts, for they are nothing but blasphemy that will get you killed. He nods at the patron still clutching his dagger. Alright. Say nothing. You'll live longer. I didn't mean anything, the young man says quickly, taking a step back. I told you what I've heard, that's all. That's all, says the Lord Master gravely. You're spreading lies and giving offense to the good people of this city, giving offense to the gods. Do you know what the punishment for such crimes is? Please, says the young man pleadingly, I'll do anything. Anything? The Lord Master says thoughtfully, as if such an outcome has never occurred to him until the youth mentioned it. In your ignorance you spread lies and rumors. It's only fitting that you make amends by spreading the teaching of Brother Meru and bringing light to the hearts of your fellow men. I'll do it, the youth says quickly, as if afraid that the Lord Master will change his mind. Just tell me what to say. Please, the Lord Master tells the young man to follow him and walks away. That's not good. Alright. If of all of the cities that I've helped overthrow, this one's got to be the one that's most deserving. A bored guard is leaning against the wall. The door next to him seems to be barred. Plague, explains the guard, nodding at the door when you come closer. Does it happen often? It happens, shrugs the guard, overwhelmed by empathy. What kind of plague is it? The kind that kills you? Says the guard, clearly surprised that people can be that stupid. How do you know it's a plague? A prospector recently returned from a trip to some ruins, fell ill, started vomiting blood, and then his hair fell off. If that ain't a plague, I don't know what is. A prospector, you said? I'd like to talk to him. And spread the plague? Don't be daft, says the guard. So what's the plan? Same as always. He makes it, we let him out. He dies, we burn the body in possessions. What else is there to do? I dabble in alchemy? Maybe I can... I don't dabble in alchemy. An alchemist, are you? Asked the guard with sudden interest. You know, a friend of mine went to a whorehouse, and now he has this rash. The guard spends the next 10 minutes describing his condition in vivid details. Yeah, a friend of yours. Suggests an ointment. Thanks, I'll let my friend know. Alright, you can go in, but do it quickly. You see a sickly-looking man lying on a dirty bed. His breathing is shallow, his eyes closed. He sounds like he's got radiation sickness. Can you hear me? The man mumbles something, then coughs, splitting blood on his tunic. Fix him a healing concoction if you want to question him. Failure. You mix in your newest invention, what you call an energy drink, generously spiked with drugs. After drinking it, the man starts shaking uncontrollably before going stiff. He doesn't seem to be breathing anymore. Maybe the formula needs a few tweaks. Whoops. My bad. My bad. Oh well. There's a zealot there. Man, this entire place just seems super dangerous. Well, there's no one back here I need. I guess let's head up here. Did you see a man leaving? Demands one of the zealots. Goes by the name of Elias. I didn't see anyone. Yeah. Sneak failure. What was that about? Here's a guard. Keep moving, says the guard, giving a quick glance. Expecting trouble? I'm here to make sure the new arrivals understand the boundaries. Just because our gates are open to all faithful doesn't mean they can go anywhere they please. Of course, men of standing and reputation are welcome anywhere, but those who belong at the bottom should stay at the bottom. I thought we were all brothers and sisters. In God's eyes, we are, nods the guard, ignoring your sarcasm. Which doesn't mean we shouldn't have order. If you were dirt poor before, you won't be sleeping on a feather bed when you come here, but you'll pray freely and without fear. What about the crosses? It's the holy city, says the guard, giving you a long, hard look as if finally finding you worthy of his full attention. If you aren't a man of faith, why are you here? I am. I was just merely curious who dispenses justice in Low Town. The faithful don't need judges to see in the hearts of fellow men, but they need guards to keep them from wandering into the upper districts. Don't overstay your welcome. Yeah, gee. Maybe I shouldn't have been so smart-ass. Well, there's a nobleman. Let's talk to him. Look at them, says an old nobleman, pointing at the district below, like a rising tide that threatens to swallow us all. I remember when Low Town was different, cleaner. When did it change? When Brother Meru started preaching to the rabble, says the old man, almost spitting when he says the word brother. Keep your voice down lest the rabble hears you. My family settled here when Ganazar was nothing but a castle surrounded by a handful of houses. I'm not afraid of them. What was the city like in those days? It wasn't much of a city back then, just a castle on this damn hill in the middle of nowhere. Many had wondered if House Crassus was banished from the imperial court. My family was always loyal to the Crassus lords, so my ancestors left Alium and settled on this hill. Of course, had they known that a lord of the greatest of the houses would end up wearing robes and courting the rabble, they would have stayed in Alium until the bitter end. Alium? The capital of the old empire. The lore masters say the fighting was so fierce, the land itself was split asunder and the city sunk beneath the waves. That was the turning point. We stopped the bastards dead and won the war, but the cost was too great to bear. Why did the old empire collapse? Why? Imagine the old empire as a mighty chariot with 7 horses. The horses are yoked to the chariot and follow the command of the charioteer. The war killed the charioteers and broke the chariot. The horses, the noble houses, started pulling what's left of the chariot into different directions, thus tearing it apart. Someone didn't get Nazar to become a city? My take on it is that at first the Crassus lords didn't want a city. They wanted a remote castle reachable only by air, but at some point supplying the castle and the growing number of retainers had become too expensive. That's when they built the cascading levels and the first stairways, and opened the lands around the hill for farming. When the farmers came, they settled at the foot of the hill, so the noble families were near the castle at the top where they belong, the plebs at the bottom, and the equestrians in the middle, a perfect natural order. And now? And now, asks the old nobleman with a scoff, now that the first among the noblemen has renounced his lordship and calls himself a brother to this rabble, I understand that we're weak and our enemies are many, but Lord Meru is going way too far. What he's doing, what he's already done, can't be easily undone. They won't go back into the cages once they serve their purpose, mark my words. Why is he doing it? Strength has always been in numbers. Ganazar's population doubled in less than a year, and these people will die for Lord Meru. But are these the kind of people House Crassus needs? What kind of future can we build with them running amok and crucifying those who don't share their zeal? They are turning on each other like animals. Madness, pure madness, says the old nobleman, turning away. Yeah, indeed. A lesson for everybody. Okay. Well, I've got to look up a couple people here. I've got to look up Esdras in Ganazar and talk to him about the armor. I've got to look up Athanasius. And I've got to look up... what else? Gaius Levinus. Okay. Well, there's an open house over here. Oh, there's Levinus. This isn't a house. This is the healer. No, I need to get up here. I can't just path up here, can I? Let's hit this doorway. There's the merchant stall. Alright, let's talk to the innkeeper. May the God's blessing be with you, stranger. Alright, maybe later. No, not out. Come on. Let's go upstairs. Alright, let's go out here, and I saw Levanus up here. Let's talk to him. The man is gazing blearily at nothing, lost in his thoughts. Gaius Levanus? He blinks as he returns to reality, then looks to you, expressionless. I don't know you, he says after a moment. Domitius Ulpius sent me. I told Domitius to leave me alone, says the man angrily, and I'll tell his lackeys to do the same. I've got nothing to say to you. I was asked to find the temple. Any help? I don't see a crossbow pointed at your head, he says, interrupting. Tell him you didn't find it. Everyone will be better. You can thank me later for living a long life, or a longer one at any rate. You have some strong opinions considering you've never even seen the temple. Domitius says you never found it. That's right, we didn't find the damn temple, says the man, staring at his cup for a while. We didn't have to. He takes a deep breath and, as if against his will, continues. We've all heard the tales of the all-powerful Magi, pacts with demons, betrayals, and destruction. The stories from before history. The lore masters spelled it out for us, but we didn't really listen. And why would we? It happened centuries ago. The tales were outrageous. Legends. The war, the gods, and the Cantari. They're all gone, like all the great works of the past. No more than dust and rubble, right? He smiles nervously. That's what we all thought, until one day we stopped under the merciless desert sun to wipe the sweat from our eyes, looking about ourselves, and found that we had walked straight into those tales and discovered just how real they are. So now you drink all day? I drink because nothing makes sense anymore. We and our fathers and our grandfathers had lived our lives in the shadows of a volcano. For years it is silent, so you think that it is dead. One day it rumbles, but you tell yourself that you are mistaken. It must have been a cart of bricks tipping over in the road, but then it rumbles again and you realize that it's not dead, that it has slept for centuries and is about to awaken. Did you tell anyone? I did. They called me mad, the natural reaction of the inconceivable. That's why I came to Ganazar, where insanity is the norm and to speak sense will get you stoned. Now I keep my mouth shut. Besides, what can I do? What can anyone do? Nothing. You know where the temple is. The young are so eager to throw their lives away, and the world's so eager to take them from you. He drains the cup and lets it clatter to the ground. The temple is in the valley between the Dead River, beyond the Dead River. It has to be. The location fits, and it's the only place we couldn't get to ourselves. Why is that, you ask? Because we lost every man trying to get there. Every single man. But you, he claps you on the shoulder, but the friendly gesture is belied by his bitter voice. I have every confidence you will prevail where better men has failed. Is crossing the river the only way into the valley? I still think it's the easiest route. Stay away from Hellgate. Those screams, I can still hear them. What do you know about it? Not much. We weren't the first to stumble upon it and pay the blood price. As far as I know, nobody who has explored it returned to tell any tales. If Hellgate is still unexplored, what makes you think it leads into the valley? I found an old manuscript written by someone returning from a pilgrimage to the temple. This is from the end of the war, so the account is sketchy at best. Apparently, the scribe went to seek refuge at the temple, a place he had visited many times before. The soldiers turned him back, but when he retraced his steps to the river crossing, he was struck by a terrifying weapon. His account read, "Day turned into night, men and ships burned, and water and sky switched places." The man pauses. I've read such stories before, but this one I believed, every word of it. He made no embellishments, used no fancy words. It was nothing but an honest record of sheer horror. He looks away again. The scribe went back, not to the temple, but to what he described as the command center under the mountains. He begged and pleaded, and the guards eventually allowed him to pass. So you think Hellgate is this command center? It has to be. The temple, the river crossing, the mountains, it fits. Alright. Do you know of any other old places? The ruins are everywhere, but the low-hanging fruit has been picked a long time ago. One of the zealots did mention a hole in the ground opened up and swallowed his friend whole. If you want to take a look, I can add it to your map. Thank you. Wow. Okay, I've got a lot of places to look at now. But I think I'm starting to run short on time, a little bit short on time, at least too much to really explore some more. So before I go looking for anyone else, I'm going to call it here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my Let's Play of Age of Decadence. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.